what a week it has been for DJI. We got an email just now with somebody tipping us off on a new photo of what looks like the DJI Mavic 2. Not the Mavic Pro 2 as all the rumors have been about. No, it's called the Mavic 2, and it's very interesting. I mean, first of all, of course, this week started off horribly for DJI, having to postpone their event that was scheduled for select press and media people only on July the 11th. But the actual main event, the global product launch for DJI, was going to take place on July 18th. And as we learned earlier this week, DJI had to postpone that event. People have been guessing and speculating whether it may have to do with software that may not have been ready, maybe even hardware that wasn't ready. Personally, one I found was one of the most interesting comments of somebody online. That person mentioned that maybe it has to do with the trade war that's currently developing between the US and China. And maybe that's why the event is postponed. Maybe it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the drones. Maybe it's more of a pricing problem that they're facing. Anyway, that was earlier this week. Today we move on to what's another headache, I guess, for DJI. This leaked photo that just surfaced online. The person that sent us the email actually mentioned that it looks like DJI is behaving as the drunk uncle who is trying to light fireworks with a gun. And I don't know what you guys think about that. I thought it was a pretty funny description of what seems to be going on this week. The drone featured in the photo is very much recognizable as a DJI Mavic series drone. It says on the arm, it says Mavic 2. It's not called a Mavic Pro 2, which is kind of interesting. That may actually mean that there is another version coming out as well, the Pro 2. We're not quite sure. We'll get back to that in a minute. But going back to the form factor, I mean, just like the Mavic Air is a much more sleek and more aerodynamic designed drone, the new Mavic 2 also is more sleek and more aerodynamically designed. So we're not quite sure, of course, because we don't have all the specs yet, but it does seem as if it's a more compact, better designed drone. It doesn't seem like it's a lot smaller than the original drone. A couple of things that stand out when you look at the design is that you can still see the battery mounted on the back and on top of the drone, whereas with the Mavic Air, for instance, the battery is mounted underneath the drone, and with the original Mavic Pro, of course, it's mounted on the back and the top of the drone as well. Going back to the name for a second, it's called the Mavic 2 in this picture, and it shows a little silver band wrapped around the arm or the leg of the drone. Now, if you look at the original Mavic Pro, it has a gold band around the leg, whereas with the Phantom series, there's a distinction between the colors, and silver is for the advanced model, whereas the gold seems to be reserved for the Pro models. This is another indication that the Mavic 2 that is displayed in this photo may just be the basic model and may not be the Pro model. Now, if you take a look at the gimbal, there are also indications there that we might be dealing with two versions for the Mavic 2. There may be a basic or advanced version and a Pro model. If you look at the gimbal, you can see that the one that's mounted on the drone is not only a different color, gray, but also significantly larger than the one that's laying down on the table, which seems to be a black one with a smaller sensor. The motors of the propellers seem to be larger than what we know from the original Mavic Pro. Also, the propellers are not the quiet type, that we've seen on the Mavic Pro Platinum. Now, earlier today on DroneDJ, we posted an article with photos from a friendly leaker that had been posted on Twitter that seemed to show a lens with perhaps an optical zoom mechanism. Now, if you compare those images to this latest image of the Mavic 2, we're not looking at the same lens, it seems. I mean, unless behind that gimbal cover or lens cover there is an optical zoom lens hidden, which may well be the case, but based on this image we cannot confirm or deny whether this new drone will in fact have a optical zoom functionality. Another feature that for many of you is a very important one is 360-degree optical avoidance. And it had been rumored that the new DJI Mavic 2 would in fact have 360-degree optical avoidance. Now, if you look at this image closely, in the front you see those two camera sensors for forward obstacle avoidance, but on the side further back towards the end of the drone there's another black hole which we're pretty sure is a side obstacle avoidance sensor, and if that's correct then it's probably safe to assume there would also be one on the other side, and there's probably one or two mounted in the back as well as on the bottom of the drone. The picture does show a little bit of the top of the drone. I don't think there's a sensor there. I mean, at least it's not visible in this image. So it seems that there's no upward obstacle avoidance, but that's probably the least important side of the drone that you would want to have obstacle avoidance on anyway. So I don't think that's a big deal. Then of course a new Mavic wouldn't be a Mavic if the legs were not foldable. Now on this photo you can't really see all the 4 legs of the drone, but what you can see is the ones that are mounted on the front seem to be folding backwards and not the rotating ones. We're not quite sure what the back legs will look like, but I assume it's the same folding mechanism that we all know, and some of you probably are used to by now as well, of the original Mavic Pro. And then the last thing that stands out when you look closely at this photo are, you see the hand with the pink nails. Some people have been speculating online that this hand may actually belong to iJustine. And maybe she was one of the people that received one of these drones early so that she could do her video production. I don't know, it's hard to say for sure, of course, but we've run a little poll on our website, DroneDJ, and see what you guys think. Are these in fact iJustine's hands, or is this just somebody else's hands? Let us know, and let us know what you think.